The squad is in good shape. We've had 2 weeks to train. That was really nice. Some players coming in a little later because they were still in competition. And yes, tomorrow is just our last moment in England to show that we're ready and how ready we are. We're really excited to play the last game before we go into the tournament. And yeah, you just want to get good connections out of the team and show the level we have at the moment.
Any fitness injury concerns? Any players who still having to manage minutes because they're coming back from injury?
Yeah, Lauren James, we have to manage in minutes. She's doing really well, but of course she hasn't played games yet. But she's in a good place.
We heard from Mark Bullingham, the FA chief exec, yesterday, and one of the topics that came up was your future, and he suggested that, you know, England are in a very difficult position going into the group, so, and your future's, you know, very happy to be contracted to 2027. Is it nice going into the tournament, sort of having that belief of the hierarchy?
Yes, of course that's nice. We've had conversations, of course. I extended my contract until 27 after the World Cup. We're going into a new tournament now, and I feel very happy here. I'm excited to go into a new tournament, not looking too much ahead, but the contract is until 27. And I've always felt so much support from Mark and the board, and I still feel that way. And it's really nice that he confirms that and empowers that again.
Does it feel a little pessimistic or disappointing that we're talking about what if England don't do well at this tournament, considering you've taken England to 2 finals and won one of them in the last few years?
Well, I think you get these questions all the time, good and bad, and in good and bad times. And yeah, it's just a reality now of the questions you get. We're just really excited to go into the tournament, and we're convinced that we can do really well. And yes, we all are aware that our group is really, really tough with incredible teams in it. And let's see what it brings us. But we're going to do everything to get out of that group stage and do really well in the tournament again.
Jess, you've been part of the Lionesses setup for quite a while. How reassuring is it to know that this setup will continue going into the World Cup, that you have that kind of permanence, I suppose, going forward?
Yeah, I think for everyone, stability is really important. But for me personally, I just think about today, tomorrow, and that's what Sarina's going to be here for that. So, and obviously going into the tournament, I don't really think much further than that personally. But of course, I think Sarina's done a great job so far, and I'm personally really happy that she's still here.
Obviously, you came in this week after having an extra week out for your club in the States. When you have time away from camp, do you feel like you're almost playing catch-up because the others have been out there on the training pitch? They've been in front of Sarina, and you've got to sort of get out there and prove, hang on a minute, I'm still the one that wants to start.
Well, I didn't think that until I came back on Monday, and we actually had this conversation maybe yesterday, and I think it was when I saw the session on Monday, the way the session flowed, I was a little bit like, panicked a little bit, not gonna lie. So it was great to see, I think, the team gelling so well. The connections just seemed so fluid. So of course, naturally, it was a little bit, I don't know what the right word is, but seeing everyone be, I guess, visible to Sarina just made me be like, okay, well, I've got to make sure I step up and do what I can in the coming days and in coming weeks to give Sarina a headache.
I know you've got a big weekend and a big month coming up, but obviously it's a big night for men's under-21s tonight. Look, you more than know what it's like to be in their shoes preparing for a major final. I'm just wondering sort of how they'll be feeling right now and what your message is to them going into a big game tonight.
I'd like to think they're just excited. I mean, they've done incredibly well to get to where they are, and they belong on that stage. They've done it before as well, and proved that they are a team that is competitive and capable of winning major trophies. So just wishing them the best of luck and hope they have the best night.
Sarina, I suppose for youth development, I suppose, in this country, it's getting youth teams to tournament finals must be crucial when you're looking sort of a couple of years down the line for seniors.
Yeah, of course. When you get that experience playing a final, that absolutely helps you. It's really positive. I also think it's incredible for Lee because he's now made the second final in a row. Very exciting. And there's another thing also with this, which is really nice, that Maya Letizier's stepbrother is in the team with Alex Scott. So yeah, we're involved. It's really crucial, I think, to play these tournaments, and even better when you play a final. Moving forward for these young players, and hopefully they will make the senior team too. Same for the women's game, of course.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anton. Go to Emma.
Morning, both. Nice to see you.
Morning.
Sarina, I wonder, have you sort of, looked back on kind of, the memories from 2022, try to, I don't know, find that energy again before you're going into this tournament, look back at some of those, happy moments?
No, you look back. So sometimes I see things coming by, and you get the questions. Now, of course, I always say totally cherish these moments. You never ever forget these moments, because this is the moments that make the difference, and that's what you do it for. But this is a new moment, and before every tournament you experience different things, and I'm the lucky one to have experienced a couple of tournaments now. And it's different again. So I'm just in the now, looking forward to the next, of course, tomorrow, but also looking forward to the game against France, the opening match, with different team, some with lots of experiences, some that come into this environment and are ready also to go into their first tournament, and we're really excited. And what Jess just said too, like we had now 2 weeks of training session going into this tournament, and we're really on it, and hopefully we can show that tomorrow, and even better when we can show that in our first game on the 5th of July.
Yeah, I know when we spoke to you a few weeks ago, you said you were close to knowing your starting 11. I'm sure you were anticipating this question, but is there a challenge for maybe a couple that were just on the fringe to really go and impress you tomorrow?
Yeah, there's. Of course, you're trying to get closer and closer to your starting lineup. I think the competition in the team is really high in every line, which is really good. What I also said in the squad announcement, we have different players in the lines we have that can bring different things, which is really good. So we can change things, we can adapt to maybe what's needed tactically. But I'm coming on your question. We're closer to a starting lineup, but we still have to figure out a couple of things, and there's still a week to go. In sport, things can change very quickly.
Yeah, and just Jess, one for you. Nice to see you.
Hey.
How would you assess the balance in the squad going into the Euros? Obviously, in 2022 there was quite a clear maybe starting 11, whereas now it feels like, as Sarina says, there's a bit more adaptability, mixture of experience, and quite a lot of youth in there as well.
To be honest, it kind of feels similar to me to 2022. I think that, yes, there might have been a clear starting 11. However, the competitiveness in training was there. And being one of those players that maybe didn't start the games, I felt every day in training that I was in a position where I was competing for a place. And I think the same as now, every player that's here is in a position where they're competing for the place. I don't think no one is here to just be part of the England team and to just sit and watch. Everyone is here to compete and to, like I say, give Sarina a headache and get themselves on the pitch.
Yeah, you've obviously had a big season as well, and it feels like you're coming into the camp in really good personal momentum and good form. How does your confidence maybe differ, or is it the same than maybe going into 2022? Do you feel a bit more experienced now? Yeah,
of course I feel much more experienced. I think the most important thing for me is that I understand myself and my body a lot better now. And when I came in 2022, I'd had a good season, but it took me a long time to recover from that season to be ready for the Euros, whereas now I've learned how to manage myself well enough to be ready for, I guess, any moment that I'm required or needed.
Yeah, well, all the best. Thank you both.
Thank you.
We'll go across to Kit, please. Thank you.
Hi, Sarina. Hi, Jess. Sarina, can I just check on LJ? I know you said you'll be managing her minutes. Can you say kind of how much you'll need to manage her minutes? Would she be in a position to start tomorrow? Would it be more of a case for her to come off the bench for the last 15? Just where is she at on that?
Yeah, the chances that she will come from the bench, we can manage that a bit. And she showed up on the training sessions really well. She could cope with load and recover from load, and her performance has been really good. So she's ready. We're just still, what I said, growing into minutes, and this is the first time in a while that she's coming into a game. And get through that, and then we take it from there towards the tournament.
And just another player, Georgia Stanway, the last time we saw her, she played 45 against Spain. Would she be in a position to play 90 minutes tomorrow if required?
Yeah, everyone else is in a position to play 90 minutes.
Cool. Tomorrow's your last chance to go to the Euros without two uncapped goalkeepers in the squad. Would there be any consideration to give Chiara or Anna some minutes tomorrow?
Yeah, I think it's important that they're ready. So if it's needed, they can come in. I'm not planning on subbing in the goalkeeper area. But if necessary, of course, no, they're ready. What I said before too, they've played on a very high level for their club in front of big crowds. So I'm convinced all the three of them are ready to go.
And sort of a question that relates to the woman sitting next to you, maybe. It feels like the left side of defence is a position that's maybe up for grabs a little bit more than most in the team. Just can you say a bit more about who's under consideration there and what factors you might be weighing up in that position?
I think the competition in the team is really high, and we have what we try to do is to get on every position on the pitch, have at least 2 players that can play there. And I think we have at least 2 players that can play on the left fullback position, as the same as every other position in the team.
Jess, coming to you on that sort of similar sort of question, just how do you feel about the state of play, maybe specifically in your positions, whether that's at centre-back or at left-back, and just, the competition in those specific areas of the pitch?
I think it's great. I think the competition that we have in the squad is great, and for me, I think it's great as well because there is not one chance where you can be complacent. You have to be at the highest level every training session, every game, because if you don't, you're probably not going to play. So I think it's great, and that's what we want as players and as staff, is to have players that can compete in multiple positions and perform at the highest level.
And what's it like as a player going into, I guess, a send-off friendly like this? Because obviously, as you say, you want to prove yourself and kind of state your claim for a starting spot at the Euros, but I suppose you'd only be human for kind of thinking ahead and wanting to preserve your fitness, I guess, slightly. So how do you kind of balance those 2 slightly conflicting aims?
I want to win every game that I play in, and every game that I play in, I intend on giving my absolute best. And my thought isn't the coming games; it's playing tomorrow and doing our best to beat Jamaica and put on the best performance that I can. And I can't speak for the other girls, but I think they'd probably be feeling the same way.